It's a Wednesday night. It's a great night. Let's do some pontificating. All right, you guys, if you don't know what this show is, you are in for a treat and a half. But before I even introduce myself and get on with the show, I do want to send out prayers and good thoughts for everybody, all our friends in Florida that are getting hit so hard right now with this hurricane. I think tonight is the big storm coming in. So you guys hang tight. Know that you have people thinking about you, praying for you, and I hope everything works out okay. So I am RT Bear. I am almost 40 years in this business, this wacky comic book industry that we know and love. Working mostly Marvel, DC, but I did help a little fledgling company called Image Comics way back when start up, and now I am in the independent creator realm, and I have a book called Black and White, and another book called Chrono Mechanics. So those are my big indie books. So you guys, what we do is we find a topic. We got a few topics we're going to talk about tonight. And we basically pontificate the shit out of them. So we're gonna get a bunch of different points of view, and we're gonna talk and hopefully try to get a consensus. And I don't know, maybe even come up with some solutions or maybe ways we can move forward on some of this stuff. So we got Clint Helinski in the chat. Hi, Clint. How are you? We got Joseph. What's up, man? We got Tech Zombie. We got Leg Kick 1, and let's see who else we got. Let's you guys sound off, man. It always makes me feel like I've clicked all the right buttons and pulled all the right levers when I see you guys in there. And also as always, feel free to chime in because what we're talking about is good for everybody. So I want to hear what people in the chat have to say, as well as everybody on the panel here. Man, Clint is he's just talking up everybody. Look at this. And what's this with Bob? Sup, freak brothers or bitches? Ooh, oh shit. We got a few great special guests tonight. So I'm going to introduce them last, but I am going to go in order of the way they came in. So first off, I have Pedro Ang. What is up, Mr. Mute? You are muted.
Not anymore. How are you doing, guys? Good evening. It's going to be a great show. Yeah. We have special guests.
Yes, we got some special guests. So I've been kidding. There's going to be some drooling. There's going to be some just a bunch of heaping praise on this guy, and but it's gonna be interesting to see if we can get some drool out of this guy. This guy's a veteran, man. He doesn't shake easy. He doesn't get all crazy into. Oh yeah, he does. Look at that.
I got my bits poster out already.
Yeah.
That's my '80s retail poster.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Oh, that's sweet, man.
Hey, dude. Chris, what brought props, man? I feel left out now. Yeah.
So that's a little clue, as they say, of who we have coming in here soon. All right, so we got my brother from another Pontificator mother, Mr. Todd Mulrooney.
RT Bear, 40 years, almost 40 years in this industry. But if you look at what he's doing now, oh my God. It's what I always call a masterclass book. You want to know, foreground, background, the depth and like you have a lot of trash going on because you have a lot of explosions and you have a lot of things that are being destroyed. Absolutely beautiful work. The best.
It's readability. It's all about readability. Well, thank you so much. And I didn't expect the drool to come from Todd directed at me, but save some of that drool, Todd, for our guest. If I go in order, no, I'm going to go this way. I'm going to go Bob next. We wouldn't have a Pontificators without Bob. We missed you last week, Mr. Camper.
Hey, I had a giant.
Mr. Camper.
You guys saw the pictures I shared, man. You can't blame me for that.
Man, you ate good. That whatever that was, that food looked so freaking good.
Man, there's nothing better than a big old friggin' cowboy cut steak on a campfire, man.
Yeah.
It looked good, man.
It was awesome.
Yeah. All right.
I needed to unplug, man. It was bad.
I feel you. The weather is getting so nice here in the Woodlands, Texas, and so every morning my wife and I have been eating our breakfast out on the patio because it's just so nice. And she's out there right now trying to detox, so watching the sunset. So I know how that is. So let's get Clint Helinski in here. Clint, are you ready?
What's up?
Uh,
You ready for fucking rock tonight? Let's
we're gonna
fucking go. Jesus Christ, man. I got a new angle tonight. It's like you get a nice look up my nostrils. So
yeah, I wanted to give you a heads up because I wanted to make sure that this wasn't just the new angle, that you were ready for this. Like this was planned.
Make sure I was actually what I was actually going on. It's like,
that you weren't just like looking out the window.
Everybody's watching. Sorry.
Hey, how are you?
No,
hell no.
That's for you, Pedro.
Thank you.
That's for you, Pedro.
Yeah.
Pedro didn't ask for that. Look at the mug, the Spider-Man mug. Chris Wozniak, big Spider-Man fan. All right, well
here we go already.
The
it started.
Yeah.
It started. Yeah.
It'll happen towards the end. You watch. All right, man. We got Camel Moon. We got a cool guest, but you know what, Camel? Are we going to start seeing a little bit more of you on this show? You think maybe?
Yeah, if you want. You said earlier that you've been in the industry for 40 years, or almost 40 years. I'm excited because I'm almost 40.
Oh shit! That's symmetry.
So, in 2 weeks, I'll be hitting my big 4-0 there.
Well, just
following in everyone's footsteps.
Yeah, well, happy birthday in advance. I'll probably forget as we get closer to it, unless you remind me, and then I'll remember.
If you want me to come on the show more often, I can do that for sure. I do the video game shows also this night, so it might not be every Wednesday, but I can definitely pop on.
Oh, that'll be great. Yeah, I will keep sending links, and if you want to pop in, that'll be great.
Okay.
I always like hearing your feedback. Well, all right. Without further ado, we got a full house tonight. We got our special guest. We got Michael Barron. Woo! Woohoo! How you doing, brother?
Doing good.
Yeah.
Bad
So
job.
let the drooling begin. Did you see what's on Chris Wozniak's drawing board there?
Yes, I did. Happy to see it, Chris.
I'm happy to have it.
Yeah. So Mike has a new campaign. He's got Private American, and it looks fantastic. I think you launched like 2 days ago. Is that right?
We launched on Monday.
Okay. Yeah. And it looks fantastic. You are heating up the airwaves, and people are taking notice. What is this? Your fourth crowdfund? No, you got more than that, right?
Well, we do, but a couple of them were very low profile, like the Cue Ball book that my wife ran, that Kickstarter. Cue Ball is a martial arts espionage thriller I'm doing with Barry McLean. But Florida Man was our first big crowdfunder. And as you know, Todd did the cover to that and contributed to it.
Yeah, Todd kicked ass, man. That cover, I always say it to Todd, it's iconic. You know, the one where the Gators jump in the Ferrari or whatever it is. That thing pretty much is just, when I think of Florida Man, that's the visual I assign to it. So way to go, Todd.
Thanks. That was it was an inspiration as far as like he gave me kind of what he wanted, and I said, really, that's going to be tricky. A gator jumping over traffic,
Yeah.
So I went for it, I just went for it.
You know what I think works about it is that I know that you can cartoon. It's a very cartoony moment, but your style is very, very realistic. And so I think what works so well for me is that it's this ridiculous image, but it's drawn so realistic. So for some reason it works, because if it was cartoony, I think you would expect something like that. But since it's not, it just really works. And the coloring on that cover was fantastic.
Getting those photos, by the way, of the gator coming at me, that was really hard. I just, just so you know.
Well, I found out there's this Lake Conroe close to my property here, and they have a couple alligators there. So I'll go out there with a camera and get you guys some reference of.
When I think of Texas, I think of feral hogs.
Yeah, dude, did you see that that video they put out that there's a shark swimming in the street?
Oh, in Florida.
In Florida.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow.
I saw it attacks there's a bird like sitting in the water and it just.
Oh, Jesus.
Dude,
I guess there's a lot of things swimming in the streets in Florida right now.
Yeah.
Did
you ever see that scene where that reporter is she's in the middle of a storm and she
gets hit by the sign,
and then that fish.
Yeah, the fish.
She gets hit by a grouper.
A grouper. But what if it was like that shark? Just kind of.
Dude, like once I was like on a lake here in Panama, and we saw like a really nice 21-footer alligator with plants on its back and everything. Dude, somebody shot him with a 9mm, and he just went and just kept on swimming. Like, dude, those guys are dinosaurs. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Be careful down there, Pedro.
Yeah.
I don't play with that.
Well, I remember talking to Ben Henderson, and he lives in Florida, and he's like, I got this big property, whatever, and I go, I hate gators. I could never live in Florida. He goes, man, you just carry a sidearm when you see him, you just pop them, and I'm like, that's the only way I could live in that terrain is if I just had a sidearm with me and I could just shoot those things. But I think it's against the law. I don't think. Hey, Mike, is it against the law to shoot gators in Florida?
No.
Well, I don't know.
Oh,
down
really?
here?
Well,
It is Florida.
I live in Florida, and when we have gators that show up and all over, really, we have to call animal control, and they come and they arrest them. They put little handcuffs on them, and they. I'm not kidding. They put little handcuffs on them, and they put them in a paddy wagon and drive them away.
Well, that's the cool thing. Like, they don't do this in Panama because if they show up, we eat them.
Eat them?
Well, yeah, they eat them here too.
Gator tastes like chicken, right?
Yeah, not really.
No, it tastes. It's got a fishy taste.
It's fishy.
No.
Yeah, it's fishy.
Yeah, it tastes more like pork to me.
Yeah, but the texture of the meat is more porky, but it tastes fishy. So it plays a thing like cognitive dissonance in your brain.
Yeah, I tried alligator when I was going to school down there.
Well, Pedro just made up a word. It's called porky. It tastes kind of porky.
Oh man, Porky's.
Yeah, Porky.
Remember the movie?
Yeah, porky.
I love gator bites. They're excellent.
They have such a thing?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
They fry them up like chicken.
I gotta imagine in Florida you can get deep fried gator somewhere.
Yeah,
everywhere.
I would definitely try it because there's nothing that brings me more pleasure than eating like an animal that would eat meat.
Eating an apex
right.
predator.
Yeah. Like I would eat a rattlesnake in a heartbeat. I would eat a gator. I have eaten thresher shark, and it's delicious.
Yeah, sure.
And Art would just
before.
be like spiteful about it. It's like, who ate who, bitch?
Yeah, that's exactly how I act, and then I chew it with
I'm gonna poop you out now.
With glee, chewing with glee.
All right, man.
Mike's there like, what the hell am I doing on this show?
Right.
Well, you got to kind of, it's been a week. We haven't really, talked in a week, so you got to kind of connect. All right, well, let's do this, man, because I am so happy to be able to share this. This man has been responsible for a lot of entertainment through the years and has entertained a young Archie Bear. I'm sorry, you are a little bit older than I am, Mike. And I remember Nexus. I remember Badger. Badger was badass. I think Badger's a little underrated. And now this is his new project, The Private American. Yeah, America. Let's play this video. Hopefully I can get the sound to work, and then we'll hear Michael's take on it.
America's southern border has become a war zone. Smugglers and terrorists flow across the Rio Grande with impunity, secure in the knowledge that no one will stop them. A distant federal government lectures Americans on their privilege while punishing overworked border patrol agents who are helpless to stem the tidal wave of invaders and determined violence. Second-generation Cuban-American Marcos Zamora is a military vet, more patriotic than most Americans. No longer able to ignore the chaos at his doorstep, he acts. Joined by his best friend Gus, they hit the border every night, saving lives while stopping violent drug cartels and other opportunists. The government reacts with fury at Marco's attempts to preserve American sovereignty, deploying the full might of their enforcement agencies. The mark is, this private American must be stopped. Illustrated by Richard Bonk and written by Eisner winner Mike Barron, Private American is his version of Captain America, and they be a little Punisher, taking part in this ongoing, violent, and very real battle of good versus evil in the war for American sovereignty. Grab your copy at theprivateamerican.com.
We have a secure border, and that is a priority for our administration.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a bit of a misnomer. Yeah.
I mean,
so
I'm not an American. I'm not an American, and I'm pumped. Mr. Barron, I have a question. Why you chose a Cuban American out of all Latinos to be private American?
Because the Cubans who come here have experienced communism and they seek freedom. I think that's true of a great many people pouring across the southern border. But the Cubans, of all the people who come here, embrace our standards, our Constitution, the Bill of Rights the most. They're the ones who appreciate freedom and the rule of law the most.
Gotcha.
And I know this because I know some Cuban Americans. And also because he was a veteran, and so he's experienced war, and he's in a situation to do something. The only reason he does it is because he lives in Texas and he sees what's happening every day because they're running across his land. And he says, well, the government's not going to do anything about this. I'm going to do something about it. And the best American can do, vigilante spirit.
An awesome concept. It's an awesome concept. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, these are the type of wish fulfillment. It's a weird way of saying it. Wish fulfillment story where you know, like there's things happening. We all fantasize about something being done. Nothing's really being done. So I like these type of heroes. It's like, you know, see a need, fill a need. So this comes right out of that. And I think all the best heroes have come out of some kind of situation, whether it was a war or mobsters or something that was happening in the headlines. And I think this is very, very topical. And I think people can read this and hopefully feel like there is something that can like good that can come out of this. Like there are some maybe some answers, ways to deal with this problem. So
I don't want to give people any ideas, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're acting down there now. And we do hear stories about people whose property is right on the border, who have to arm up and lock their doors, and they're trying to get out of there. And there was a harrowing story the other night about a man where a group of refugees tried to break into his house, and he had the door locked, and he showed them a gun through the window. So they ran next door and they broke into his grandmother's house.
Oh, man.
Jesus.
Jeez. Oh, the border. I thought you were talking about Martha's Vineyard.
But Bob.
Yeah,
not yet, Bob.
Hey, the way they're talking, it's a crisis, man.
Too soon,
Yeah.
Bob.
So many comic book characters are wish fulfillment. And when Superman first appeared, just the idea of Superman, who is snatching that term from the Nazis, who kept talking about the Ubermensch and then using it against them. That's one of the reasons Superman was so popular at its height. They were selling millions and millions of titles.
Yeah, exactly.
And Batman, the same thing. And Death Wish, the same thing. And Dirty Harry, the same thing. But today, the situation is 1,000 times worse. And I'm referencing the border. Because the nation's number one responsibility is to safeguard the safety of its citizens. And also, if you don't have the rule of law, you don't have civilization. So it baffles most Americans that our government is letting this happen.
Yeah. So you got Richard Bonk, man. I've been following that guy's career for a while now. That is a good find right there. He is a really good talent.
Yeah,
so how did that come about?
I don't know. Somehow I hooked up with Richard And the first thing we did together was a Nexus graphic novel called Nefarious, which is being released by Dark Horse in February. And then Private America popped into my head. Because any long-time reader, anybody who read The Punisher, knows that I have been grabbing stories from the headlines my whole life, and a lot of writers do. But the most important thing to me is to entertain. I never lose sight of that fact. So there's no preaching, there are no bumper stickers. It's pure action from the first page. There's not a wasted word, there's not a wasted panel. And I just spoke to Richard today, and he will be done with the whole book next week.
Oh, great.
Oh, that's great.
And he's a penciler inker, right? So he's getting complete pages done. That's awesome.
Yeah, you should see his work. It's exciting. It's technically proficient. There's a lot of hardware in this book, and we have to get the hardware right, or we're going to hear about it. I know that from experience. And the hardware is right.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that are into that. Look at this shot. This is a page from the book here.
Ooh. Yeah, drawing guns is hard.
Guns is
Especially
hard.
realistic guns, man. Like I could do the hairdryer guns, no problem.
Military books, you want to have a lot of reference, but it's tricky to draw. Machine guns, tanks, all that stuff.
Well, with the internet, you can find
that's what saves a lot of artists
Pinterest.
now. Is
I live in New Hampshire. I'm in New Hampshire. I just got to go in my closet.
Just have a poster holding a rifle.
Good for you. We used a rifle called the Accuracy International. Is the manufacturer, and that's the name of the rifle, the Accuracy International rifle, and it's worth checking out if you're into sniping. Who isn't?
Wow, this is a great shot. Look at the way that helicopter brings up the scene.
Yeah.
Richard's really, really good.
Thinking about shots.
Was that a gunshot?
Yeah.
What?
Pedro, get
Dude,
down.
I live in the woods, man. What can
What's
I
going
do?
on there? They're hunting feral hogs.
Yeah.
Well, Pedro lives in Panama City, right, Pedro?
No, I live in Panama. I live 2 hours away from Panama City.
Okay.
In a little town called La Pintada, where people hunt at night.
Do they hunt people or just?
Well, God bless them.
That's the roots cover.
Yeah. Ooh, look at that.
Look at this guy getting shaken down. All the weapons coming out of him.
A yo-yo,
really like this
his
cover.
phone.
Awesome, man.
I dig this cover.
That is so cool, man. That is really, really cool.
Yeah, and the color palette is very like military propaganda poster. Like I like it a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, who's
Color
the
Stick Stand lives in the Philippines, and there is a tie-in with Thin Blue Line. And eventually, I'll probably bring these books together.
I'm trying to remember who this artist reminds me of. It's
This is Steve Rude.
but it's indicative. I know that, but it like this picture in itself is indicative of something I can't remember. It's in the tip of my brain, and I can't remember what it is.
It's a little book called Nexus. Remember all the pages?
I understand that. Damn it! I'm saying.
Come on, Bob.
The composition of this thing reminds me of something, and I can't remember what it is.
It's Kirby-esque.
Yeah, it's got that, but like this angle and like what he's doing, he's throwing these guys. It's like I'm getting like some Captain America vibes from an old Captain America book that I've covered. I'm trying to remember, and it's like
the Kirby stuff, man. He was always like taking multiple soldiers and just grabbing them and like knocking heads or throwing them around like rag dolls. So I can definitely see a Captain America vibe here.
So this is the variant. You got a Steve Rude variant for your.
Yes, and we're going to have a couple other covers too.
I always love Steve Rude.
How did you get? Man. Yeah, how did you get Steve Rude? Have you ever worked with him before?
Dude said, "What do you want for your birthday, man?" I said, "Well, how about a cover for
a Dale Keown cover?"
And he said, "You got it." And he sent me the original too.
Oh, cool!
Wow,
that's awesome. Yeah, it looks awesome, man. I love that. This is dope.
Yeah, the dude does some crazy ass shit. This is really cool, man.
Art Vito said, "Zoom in, man."
I can't. I don't know how to do that.
Up in the right corner, you see where the little 3 dots are.
Yeah.
Click that, and then there's you zoom, and then you can just plus and minus it.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
look at that. That's nice.
Wow. technology.
Shut up! Shut up!
Shut up, crime!
Let's see if it can go bigger. Now I got a new toy.
There you go.
This will. I was hoping I could get right on the crotch there.
Yeah,
that's a nice cover though.
That'll be that will be the second crutch of the night. Thanks to Clint.
We have a Matt Barr cover too.
I'm digging this.
There's the drones. Okay, so this is some kind of organization that he's going to be fighting against. Is that what we're seeing here?
Well, there's a multitude of organizations. They're the cartels who are trying to get their fentanyl across. They're the human smugglers. And when we first meet Marcos, he's interrupting a rape in progress. I don't know if you know this, but 99% of the women and the girls who hire a snakehead to bring them across the border are raped. That's part of the price they pay. It's not anti-immigrant, although we all agree that there's a proper way to enter the country and an improper way. And there are terrorists. There are people pouring across the country from nations that don't love us. Nations like Iran and Iraq and Russia. They've already caught a number of terrorists from Iran down on the border. All you got to do is Google terrorists crossing southern border, and you get more news than you can handle.
Yeah.
Dude, those caravans start all the way down here. Like you get like African people getting to Panama, and they start walking from Panama all the way up to the U.S. border. And dude, it's coyotes. Like you got to pay money in Guatemala. You got to pay money to go through Mexico. You got to pay money to be on the border. And if you're a woman, you're gonna get roped and raped.
And it costs finally when you get to the border, it costs $7,000 to cross the southern border. And I don't know where these people get that money because they're poor. They have nothing.
Oh, okay. This is how it works. They don't have the money, but once they cross it, they owe it.
Oh, right. That's right.
And so then they'll go work for a business owned by
them. Business owned by them, and then you work for several years until you pay your debt up, and then you're like, welcome to America, basically.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a student loan. It's like a student loan for the government.
It's a little worse.
Start paying off these migrants.
Yeah, it's slavery. It's slavery. That's what it is.
The difference is Biden's not going to forgive it for these illegal immigrants. They're not going to.
Oh, he's not going to remember it anyway.
No.
Oh my God! This is I'm digging this, man. This guy it's like a cross between Captain America and the Punisher.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it is, and I mentioned that actually. If you want to get the book, it's just go to theprivateamerican.com. Theprivateamerican.com.
Yeah, if anybody in the chat has a wrench, I think Bob does. Yeah, put a link in there. And
Todd did. Thank you, Todd.
Yeah, we'll get some more people in here checking out The Private American, a gripping and explosive graphic novel from Eisner winner Mike Barron and comic book artist Richard Bonk. We got Chris Brawley doing his thing on this campaign. So we're at 14,065, 273 backers for only 2 days. That's freaking killer, man. So let's see if we can get this thing up to 15. Lickety split. Mike has done a ton of work. Mike has done crowdfunding. He delivers, on his campaigns. And let's see if we can get this thing to 15 lickety split. As I said, it looks great, Mike. It really does.
You.
Yeah, you're kicking some ass, and I think that you definitely have some cojones that I haven't seen in the entertainment industry. Like everybody, it seems like they just tap dance around anything that's real. Even comedians.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's weird. I'm just longing for some honesty in entertainment. Just somebody just to make a joke about.
Bill Burr.
Yeah, there's a few. Yes, Bill Burr is one of them.
Yeah. Even Bill Burr has been curving his.
He's getting a little wokey in the pants.
Last 2-3 years, he's really softened up.
Well, could you imagine?
He's a parent now.
There's a reason that they all pitch the same line. Is once you go to work for Hollywood, and comics is like the idiot bastard child of Hollywood, only it's been elevated lately. Then you're part of the machine, and every part of the machine must think exactly the same way, or you're out. It's just like a certain political party.
Yep.
Of which they all subscribe, and it's baffling because I've had friends who are great companions and had they used to joke about everything, and then they went out to Hollywood and got a job writing comedy for characters out there. And now I look at their Facebook page, and it's just one virtue signal after another. It's just baffling.
Yeah, they went out to write comedy and they forgot what's funny. Yeah,
right.
Well,
now they have to keep their jobs.
Yeah, you can't make people laugh without without offending someone because it's all humor is based on tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like it's that saying, it's funny because it's true. So if something is true, that usually means it affects you in a deeper way, right? Like, you know, whether it's like, oh, you have a big nose, or you know, you're fat, or whatever it is.
Yeah, but comedy is always exaggeration art. Like it has to be based on truth, but you get exaggerated at a certain point to find the funny. So
that, like George Carlin says, there's always everything is like is kind of normal, and then all it needs is one exaggeration.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
that one exaggeration, then it becomes, you know, a joke. It becomes funny. Yeah.
Humor is just like drama. If something doesn't go wrong, then there's no story to tell.
Yeah.
Or there's no joke. You know?
Yeah. In Russia, they say humor is like food. Not everybody gets it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Ouch.
It's funny because it's true.
Because it's true. Oh, dude, but speaking about bravery, just like taking this topic head on about the whole like immigration thing. Because dude, I live in Latin America and I see it every day. People like, I want to go to the U.S. Some people do it properly, others don't. But I don't know. Like, I don't want to speak for Latinos who live in the U.S. because I don't. But I don't see myself as so weak that I can read a story about this topic. You know,
it's true because I grew up in a Puerto Rican neighborhood. Like almost, I would say 85% Puerto Rican, maybe more, maybe another, I don't know, 50% black, and then me. You know, but I mean, Puerto Ricans are very proud Americans. They embrace all Americanism. You know. But they also keep their culture, you know. So I mean, I think they're the good example of how, you know, people can be. They're Americans to begin with, but they absolutely they hold on to their culture, but at the same time they love America and, you know, American values and stuff like that. You know, and so you know, I think they're a great example of how to do it right.
Well, the thing is, nobody says when you come over here from another country that you have to conform, you know, 100%. I mean, nobody, there's no contract you sign, there's no agreement. So the thing is, you can hang on to that stuff, but there is like a public persona. There is like an American persona, right? You go out in the world and you're an American, so you represent, you know, your country, you're an American. But when you go home, you know, that's your Sicilian, you know, roots. That's your, you know, Hispanic roots. It's your Irish roots. It's whatever, you know, it is. And I grew up in kind of like you, Chris, but a Hispanic neighborhood. And I go to school with these guys, and I didn't even know they were Mexican until, you know, you go over their house, and then everybody's speaking Spanish. Everybody's speaking Spanish, you know. And there's always one grandmother that speaks no English that sits in the corner. She's always like, grandma, go away.
Hola, mijito, ya comió. Venga, le doy su pozole, su chapurolada. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. But
my grandma said hi.
Yeah, grandma said hi. Yeah. And the thing is, man, the hospitality, holy shit, man. That's the one thing I do miss about like living in LA County when I was growing up is they cook all the freaking time, man. And they love feeding the masses. So if you're over there,
to eat,
they're forcing food on you, man.
Yeah. What's that Ray Romano bit is like, if you want a lot, say you want a little. If you don't want any, you have to shoot her.
And the thing there are the Italian families.
Yeah, because the Italian families are like that too. Like, you know, they'll feed you. And I remember I was in Philadelphia hanging out with one of my friends, and there you go. Look at that, the horn. Yeah, he brought out wine, and it's like they pour it for me, and then they're all sitting around the table, the whole family, and they're not doing anything. They're just watching me. And so then I pick it up and I drink it, and then they're like, "Well, what do you think?" And I'm like, "It's pretty good." And they're like, "Yay! It's like Grandpa made it." You know, like,
I was like, yeah.
Grandpa made it in the toilet with his underwear.
We call it dago, right? You gotta taste. You gotta taste.
Grandpa was in the basement squashing grapes.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, but let's get into this. This is an article, and this is kind of the newest. Well, no, I don't want to do that. Let's see.
The newest
here.
abomination.
Well, it's
Let me take my glasses off. Yeah.
The industry turning on the industry, which I always find amazing. And yeah, one thing I wanted to get into is not so much what happened, but although we'll give some backstory, I mostly want to get into and get everybody's take on like why this is happening and what is getting into other professionals turning on talent, like basically turning on each other. I've never seen it before. There was always a lot of us have been working in the industry long enough that we remember professional courtesy, where you just didn't say things in public. You know, like you had your thoughts. You know, when you were with your friends or whatever, you would voice your opinions, but you never really did it publicly. And now, you know, it's kind of running rampant. So this is Andy Smith. He put out, let's see, let me try. Here it is. Okay, so this is Andy Smith on his Facebook. He just wrote LOL, and then the image is a family. You know, like this looks like from, you know, Costume City. They just got some you know, Mexican outfits, and this is probably from Halloween or something like that. And so since somebody wrote a caption, me and my family pretending to be immigrants so we can get a free flight to Martha's Vineyard.
That's
right?
funny. That's funny.
Yeah,
that's funny.
I thought it was funny. I liked it. I gave a little smiley face, and oh my gosh, just watching all the snowflakes melt, like just all.
You know, the only thing that offends me as a Latino is that the female is dressed like a sriracha bottle. Sriracha is not a Latino hot sauce. That's the only thing that I would say. Like, hell no.
That's
but aside from that, funny stuff.
Well, my favorite is that, like the tacos, it says mini, and then it has the kid's name, and then a price. And the older kid actually is sold for more money.
It's a bigger taco,
yeah. You know, and you know what? It's so funny. They're like, this is so racist. Your kids dressed like tacos, and this guy, you know, pretending to be Hispanic, and you know, all this stuff. And I'm like, why are you being offended by it? This is obviously a family that dressed up. They got the costumes at some store. These are like store-bought costumes.
Yeah.
So somebody's making money off this racism, and they thought it'd be funny, and they dressed up for Halloween, and they're trick-or-treating with their children. That's all. And so then, you know, the caption's pretty funny. And then so Andy Smith thought it was entertaining, and he posted it. Yeah. Well, the industry turned on him. And so
I wouldn't say the entire industry. I would say a few of these guys.
3 guys, and none of them are Mexican.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
it always seems like it's the same 5 or 6 guys.
I didn't see Garza post on this.
Well, one expects Eric Larson to attack.
Yeah. Eric Larson, Mark Brooks. I don't know who the other one was. Dave Williams or something.
Bill Sienkiewicz also, right?
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Dave Johnson. Dave Johnson's kind of linked with the Panosian group.
Or Dave Johnson, yeah.
Yeah. And
Richard
so,
Pace always pipes up, and
I know all those guys.
Yeah, it's the same ones that are always offended, and they're the same ones that are always virtue signaling for their editors. Because hey, look at we're fighting the fight for you. We believe what you believe. Yeah. Give us more work, please.
You need us to protect
please give us more work.
Yeah, that's funny because
I love Bill Sienkiewicz. I think he's the most talented artist ever to draw a comic book. But I just don't understand this.
I don't either. Bill and I used to be friends.
How things that have nothing to do with comic books are now part of your career. if you vote a
I've
certain
had
way, or if you
longtime
have it.
friends, really good friends, who just cut me out of their life when they found out I was conservative.
Well, that's the internet. I mean, that's not the real world. Nobody does that. I was in Maine last month. We had like a family gathering, and in the coast of Maine. And in my family we have Muslims, woke kids, Republicans. It's a whole gamut of every hippies, like everything you can imagine. Everybody sits at the dinner table. Everybody gets along fine. If you have differences, you talk about them. There's no, the real world isn't this nonsense we see on the internet where everybody's like, picking teams and factions and warring against each other, like behind their keyboards. You would never ever say anything like that to someone in person. It's crazy. It has nothing to do with work. So if you're you have a certain way that you vote or live or want to, and to have that affect something in your career is just insanity.
Yeah, and then Dave Johnson doesn't just say he's racist or whatever. He starts attacking him personally, like your work sucks, you're a horrible artist. It's like, listen, Dave, like you're not the greatest artist in the world. Like, who died and made you, the arbiter of like what's good and what's not? Like this is just arrogance to the nth degree, to actually cast this kind of shade on a fellow comic book artist. We're all just trying to make a living, and Dave Johnson, just the elitist fuck. If I mean, saying these kind of things about another artist, like he just must just think so highly of himself to be able to cast this shade. And the problem is these kind of actions. If Andy wasn't part of Comicsgate and he didn't have this nice little cocoon to insulate himself and protect him, these words would destroy him. He probably wouldn't find work after this. You know what I mean? Like that's how vicious these attacks are.
Oh, yeah.
That's the crazy.
You don't know what it's like until you are the subject of an internet attack.
Yeah.
I know what it's like.
Yeah, I did one last month.
Well, look, this is cool. This is Kevin Dooley, and I think this is always tough to see what side people are on. But Kevin Dooley was a DC editor. He worked. I think his book were like the Green Lantern Corps books. And Kevin Dooley says,
too.
Yeah, based on Andy's past opinions, you can be assured it's not anti-DeSantis. So even Dooley, which I thought was cool.
I think that's Dave talking. Is it?
Dave to Kevin.
Yeah, I think it's Dave.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. I can't click on these, so I probably shouldn't go down this rabbit hole. But yeah, and then Mark Brooks chimes in. Like
the
you guys said,
pirate Mark Brooks.
Yeah, the usual suspects, coming in, and then we have this book that's just doing gangbusters.
It's awesome.
It's over 50K. Core Draft, The Reckoning. Andy Smith is doing the work of his career. Eric Larson chimes in.
What racism?
I'm not sure why. Yeah, I'm not sure why some people are so proud of their racism. It's what I said this. I said at best, it's a bad joke. You know what I mean? Like it's not funny. But
Dude,
I agree. I think it's a great joke. But I'm just saying
it's a great joke.
From these people's point of view, like it's not racist. It might be like I said, to them, in reality, they just didn't find it funny. But it's sure as hell not racism, because I think like you have to have a certain level of hate or anger or whatever in your heart against a certain group of people for it to be racist.
Right, and
Andy isn't like that.
It contains a grain of truth, which is why it's funny. That's why it's funny.
Yeah, exactly.
A grain of truth.
And dude, everyone I like Santiago said in there, he said, I'm from Spain and I just think it's funny. You know, it's like there's single person that this is actually about that is like in here saying, no, it's just bullshit, this sucks, and they're all like, we don't care.
But even if you don't think it's funny, there shouldn't be career consequences for telling a joke. That's where I think things are out of control. We've just gone into the land of fucking insanity here because jokes are fiction, and some people will like them, some people won't. But if if we're gonna now censor like people's ability to joke about things, who's drawing that line for us? Who says what's okay to like? I told the joke at my father's funeral. If my mother had heard it, she would have lost her shit. If my dad was alive, he would have laughed his ass off. So who's to say, who's in charge now of saying where we draw the line when we tell a joke? I thought creative people were against censorship across the board.
Yeah,
I thought we all agreed on that. Didn't we agree on that for fucking 60 years?
Yeah.
Well, here is like this is interesting. Sienkiewicz furthered evidence that there is an industry blacklist surrounding any creators who lean conservative in comics, with his next overreacting replies, completely disavowing Smith to prove his allegiance. It's funny because when I was here pretty early on in Comicsgate, and there's a lot of self-evaluation, like, is this real? Is there really like a culture war? Is this stuff real, or am I being paranoid? All of that stuff. And then there comes a time where it's undeniable, and you're just like, holy shit, man, these people really want to hurt us. I mean, really want to hurt us. They would not feel bad if Andy Smith never worked in the industry again. They would not feel bad at all. That's insane.
Here's my 2 cents.
Okay.
You say saying in an instance like this, that's not funny. That's just a way of asserting dominance. And then that assertiveness is used to dominate the narrative and cast aspersions in the direction that they're trying to project it.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, and that's it, projection. That's exactly it. Because they're the ones thinking those thoughts.
Right. And I think it's part of a larger issue, which is a lot of these guys now, they're hired because they are voice pieces for whatever that company is. And if they want to continue to get work, then they need to continue to put out tweets like this or get in altercations like this. And if they want to keep their jobs, right, then they have to project viewpoints and remind their employers, and they have to remind everyone else that they're on the right side of whatever that narrative is.
Right.
And that's what I think a lot of this is. I think with CG, there's such a jealousy factor that
100%
CG is freedom. Yeah, and so I'm trying to think how I would explain this, but I'm trying to think if you, because of all of this, they now need to double down on whatever that rhetoric is, and they're trying to convince their base, they're trying to convince themselves, and that they've chosen correctly. And I think as the ship is going down, and they want everyone else to go down with them, because every day there's more and more proof that they've made the wrong choice. And it's just whether it's mandates that's becoming an issue, or whether it's DeSantis, or whatever it is, whatever the political rhetoric is, it's now spiraling out of control, and they're being proven wrong every single time. They wouldn't try so hard to try to silence or point fingers or create accusations if there was nothing to worry about. They would just let people dwindle and die.
Camel, so this is like a slow-mo sinking of the Titanic, band and all. They're just watching the guys playing the violin, like
Well, the thing is, there's a lot of things that are entering into this equation. Like, entertainment as a whole is just floundering. Like, I don't think anybody is really in charge. Anybody has a direction. Print medium is kind of going the way of the dodo. There's a lot of things that are shifting and changing. So the industry, like COVID showed us how fragile the comics industry is, and how badass, I said this when it was happening, how badass Comicsgate is, because the first time, you guys all know this fear, ever since I got into this industry, you're always like 1 month away from the unemployment, right? So you're always looking for that next gig, always looking for that next gig. No guarantees, right? So with Comicsgate, and when the pandemic and the lockdown happened, I was like, what's going on? And I'm like, for the first time in my career, I'm not scared. I'm not afraid.
That's right.
Because I am independent of these boneheads. I'm independent of all this shit that's happening right now. So the industry, that part of the industry could burn and it won't make a difference. They can't touch me. We are kind of like, the untouchables.
It should be like that for all creators. I mean, in this day and age, who needs a publisher?
That 50 years ago, the left realized that to control society, they needed to take over education, entertainment, the media, and the government.
Yep.
And they did that.
Yeah.
And now we see this: the seeds of that have flowered, and we're living in a totalitarian state. I mean, we can't believe what our government is doing, and that's why these alternatives have sprung up. And thank God for Comicsgate. Because we're able to thrive outside the system, but that's because we're so far down the totem pole on what's important. If you are a conservative in the arts, it's like being a Jew in Nazi Germany.
You don't have to be conservative. You could be in the middle, and you're
Right.
and that's the same to them.
If you're not towing the company line, if you're not virtue signal, and that's why all these guys are out there. Like if you follow a Comics Pros Twitter account, they're on a daily basis towing the company line. Oh, am I muted?
No. Just
no, you good.
But like they're making sure my editor is seeing, I believe what you believe. I'm making sure everybody knows that I believe what you believe. Give me more work, and that's all this is. It's jealousy. Yeah. Who's making $50,000 in a week off of one comic they did? None of these comic book pros.
No. Well, actually, in the professionals green room, we have conversations, as in the CG green room and stuff. But I think it was Graham Nolan, and he was talking about. I think it was Dave Johnson, and so he did the math. He was like, okay, let's give Dave Johnson the benefit of the doubt. Okay, Dave Johnson makes $1,000 a cover, right? Because he mostly just does covers, right? So that's $1,000. That's great money. We all doubted that he was even making that, but let's just say he does. So let's say he does, I don't know, 2 or 3 covers. That's $2,000 or $3,000 a month. You know what I mean? If he does 5, that's $5,000 a month. That's still, living in California, that's below poverty, man. That's like, you can't afford anything. So I think
he can get his can of cat food for the week.
Yeah. Hey, Art, Todd's back.
Oh, I'm sorry, Todd. Thanks, Bob.
He's good.
Sorry about that, Todd. Yeah. So the thing is, it could be some of this jealousy that I think Camel Moon or somebody brought up, is that they look at their income and then they see what Comicsgate is able to do in a short period of time. It does take a little bit of time, after that, to develop the book and get it done and get it shipped out, because most of us are one-man operations. But it's still, most of the time, it's more money than those guys will make in a year anyways. Like somebody do the math. Okay, if you make $3,000 a month times, or even $5,000, let's give Dave Johnson the benefit of the doubt. $5,000 a month. That's 60K
a year.
Yeah, that, to live in California, that's below poverty. My daughter makes more money than that on an hourly. She makes good money, but on an hourly.
Well, comics.
And Andy just made that in a week doing Comicsgate, one comic.
Yeah, but comics, if you're working for regular publishers, Marvel, DC, or if you're not working for yourself, you're probably not making a good living.
Right.
I mean, that's for most people. That are just like day-to-day grinding it out kind of guys. Like I took a break from comics for 17 years, some shit like that. And I went back to a convention. And I saw guys that I hadn't seen since who were doing the exact same thing that I saw them doing before, like, oh, if I do a good job, the editor will give me this gig or that gig or something. I don't want to say specifically who it was, but they were literally in the exact same spot that I left them in 2 decades before, but now working for less money.
Yeah.
Like their page rates have come down even. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah,
I mean, the money situation is good, but also I think freedom is a big element also of the jealousy. Because, dude, working in a place, because I mean, the marching orders are not even coming from the top. It's an amorphous beast that's floating, and its mouth is on Twitter. So whatever you do, you got to check out if Twitter agrees to see if you're in trouble or not. That's their work environment right now.
What's weird is those vocal people we're not going after their jobs. Like we're not their competition.
Yeah, I can never do that.
I don't know why the people out there don't see like why is that guy even complaining about that guy? He's not after him or it's just bizarre to me that you can't read between the lines and go, hey, those guys are on their own. And they used to put up a little bit of a fight and throw, lob insults back and forth. But they're not doing that anymore. They're just making books and they're just trying to entertain us. And, when I go, like, for instance, you go and you look and go, wow, look at the books. Look at the books they're making. So either you got to look at that guy and go, yeah, I know he might be a Democrat and those guys might be Republicans or whatever, but I'd rather be entertained, and that's all it's about. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're doing. We're not throwing politics around all the time. We're certainly not doing it here, right? We don't throw politics here.
Not really.
And I understand Mike's book has sort of a lean towards a trendy thing that's going on, and Blue Line had that same kind of thing. But he's not throwing it in your face of what you have to think. He's just showing you a political climate or a climate that's going on and making a book about it and trying to entertain you.
It's no more political than like Superman, or Captain America in the war, like it's just a G versus E type of story that comes out of the headlines. But I want to get back onto like what Chris said earlier about like other professionals and how the industry is. Like you fight so fucking hard to hold on to that little turf. It's like you're like a you're a gangster.
It's like a gang war.
Yeah, you have this little turf in the industry, and you fight so hard just to hold on to that every month. It never grows. It never goes anywhere. Every once in a while, you'll get a glimmer of like, oh, well, you can go do this book, or you can maybe do this. But it really is just that little niche, and it doesn't really. You can't really grow out from that. And you can't do anything beyond that. I remember having a conversation with Mike Barron. I'll drop names. And I was asking him. I was coming from Marvel to DC. They wanted me to do this Superman Fantastic Four crossover, and I asked him. I said, "Well, my DC rate is lower than my Marvel rate. Can I get at least my Marvel rate, if not better?" And he said, "No, you're at a cap." And I said, "Well, what if, because I was mainly a Marvel guy at the time. And so we were talking about loyalty to a company. I said, well, what if I came over and started doing more work for DC? And then showed loyalty or whatever, then, pay my dues, my rate goes up." He goes, "Nope." And I go, when? I go, how long would I have to do this? He goes, based on, current, administration and stuff like that. He goes, you're never going to get a raise. And the one good thing about Mike is at least there's honesty, there's honesty there. And I was like, thank you so much for your honesty. I'll do this Fantastic Four Superman at a loss. But I'm probably not going to do any work other than that for you guys. So that's another thing is like, sometimes you just take these jobs because these are your dreams. Like I want to do, Captain America, or I want to do Batman book. So then, it's almost like you're exploited because that's your childhood dream. You know what I mean? So then they pay you crap and you're just loving the idea that you can draw or write Batman.
But that's going to stop. That's going to stop real soon because they're not cultivating a group of artists that are going to want to do these books in 10, 15 years.
In fact, the artists that they're hiring are repellent. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, well, I mean, but even like, there's no 13-year-old who's excited to go pick up Batman.
It's happening already.
It's not a thing anymore. They're not checking out the art for that reason. The artists that they do find are, these guys, half of them they find on fucking DeviantArt, or the other half are guys that they end up, they find them on Twitter, or they find them on some other, art station or something like that. And they're all, they're drawing gay Robin and shit. And they're like, all right, well, we'll hire you. They give them $85 a page. They make a color it themselves. And then it's like, they're wondering why the books aren't selling.
It is.
Forget gay Robin. He looks like he's hydrocephalic.
Yeah, dude. Like, I don't get it. He looks like a kid who needs help.
And the thing is like, I can't remember who it was that showed me artwork from this same guy, this same person, and it's like completely different. It looks like a completely different artist. It looks pretty good. So I'm like, did they ask for this? It was weird.
What's this screen you're showing? What site is this from?
Let me see.
That's
this is from
AIPT.
I don't know what the app.
Okay.
AIPT.
AIPT. Thank you.
Yeah, but it's like you look at how odd this. Like, look at their faces and everything, and just how weird it looks, and it just everything this artwork is just strange. And then you look at the different art that they showed me that the same guy did. I'm like, that actually looks good. Like the only thing I can think of is that they wanted it to look like this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They showed some reference.
Like there are certain artists, and I remember having conversations in the day, when you're breaking in, and one of my artist friends said. He said, Art, you put so much work into this. He goes, they're not paying you enough money to put this kind of time in. And I remember saying, like, I don't know how else to do it, right? Like, I only knew one way to do it, and that was this way. And he said, well, you're going to lose a bunch of money. And I said, well, at this point, I don't really know how to cut corners. I don't know how to do these things. And he said, well, what you have to do to survive in this industry is whatever they're paying you, that's the work level that you give them. And then I'm kind of glad I didn't go down that route because, you're only as good as your last book too. So the catch-22 with this is if you don't do outstanding work, then you don't work the next month. So if you just phone it in, even though it might be fair, they're only paying you, half of what you really deserve. Mm-hmm. You still have to give them everything you have, you know what I mean, or you're just not going to work. Because that's kind of what's expected of you.
Okay. After you're done,
this is what Mike Oeming did. I mean, he got to a point in his career where he said he had to develop a much simpler style to be able to make a living. It was either like, get out of the business or just change the way he does it, and that's how he came up with that look that he generated. That he used on all those other
after
books.
We're done looking at this art, I've got the other stuff that this person has done pulled up, so we can compare it when we're done.
Yeah, I've seen his Batman work. It's absolutely fantastic. It's really dynamic. Yeah, the only thing I can think of though is that it was a rush job, and they just weren't paying him what he was worth. So he just banged it out. Also, to be honest, I don't think this story. Yeah, I don't think the story looks like it deserves more energy anyway.
Yeah.
Just look at this. It's like I was using that meme for The Godfather. It's like, look how they massacred my boy.
It's just that's a strange look to put. It's nowhere near any kind of house style, and to put that on a mainstream kind of comic, it's just strange.
Yeah, this isn't mainstream. Definitely,
that's a number one, by the way.
I mean, it's Robin.
Yeah, if this
this is an issue number one. Yeah.
Wow.
Dude, he's a pencil neck.
Issue number one and last issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean,
you can tell the guy has skill. I mean, the composition, the storytelling is pretty sound. I mean, look at some of these compositions. There's some good stuff, but there just isn't any love. You know what I mean? There's an understanding, but there just really isn't anything beyond that. And to be honest, I mean, if you're paying just to adapt to like what my friend said, if they're going to pay you a certain amount, that's the work you get. you get that level of work. So is this it right here? Comic book
Yeah.
Bob? Let me check it.
Okay, let me blow this up a little bit. All right.
Can
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you make it bigger?
Yeah. Oh, here. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, there's 3 dots on the side, Bob, and if you click
Yeah.
a little drop down, and it says zoom, and there's a plus and a minus.
But
These are tiny, Bob. Can you make them bigger?
it's not letting me do it for some reason.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But
yeah, I saw some of his Batman work. What's his name? So maybe people can check it out on their own, and so they can see how good
I'm trying to find his name here.
Somebody in the chat.
Riley
hey guys,
Riley
I gotta go.
Rosmos.
My wife is back from her trip.
Okay.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Hey,
all right, brother.
Thanks a lot, Mike.
Yeah,
thanks,
Riley.
Mike. It was an honor, man.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Riley Rosmo.
Okay, you guys.
ROSSMO.
Yeah, this guy can do some great art. I've seen it. It's fantastic. Oh, Clint is sorry about that, Clint.
No, it's my internet's crap today for some
Well,
reason.
I'm all over the place, you guys. I am definitely a boomer, and I have no idea what I'm doing even after all these years. So that's part of my charm.
Is that what we're
Very
calling it?
charming.
Oh, I knew Chris. I knew Chris was gonna.
Is that what we're calling it?
Yeah, Chris is still pissed off at me because I said I hate Peter Parker.
Oh, here we go.
I hate Peter Parker too. It's okay.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, thank
no.
you.
I think he's the
Oh,
worst
dude.
character.
Oh, no.
He's a fumbling moron.
Dude, I am sitting literally
Hey,
4.5
just
feet
like,
from 2A
dude,
office.
But
Don't be
just
taking
stop
shots at all of
whining.
us fumbling morons.
I don't want
Can
to
relate
be in
Peter
this clip.
Parker.
I don't want to be in this clip.
He's complaining all the time. He sleeps through shit and get out of here.
Well, the version of him that exists today.
No, all of them.
No,
all
he
of
was
them is
always like
him
that.
just complaining. I got an algebra test. Oh no, I got to go fucking save people at a subway. Just do it,
Wow.
dude.
All right,
No appreciation.
Camel Moon, yes.
Chris
Fucking
is dying a
whippersnappers.
little bit inside.
Young whippersnappers.
The dumbest, lamest character. I've never heard a superhero whine so much.
Where do you live again?
Wow.
It's like the cartoon arrows coming out of Chris's chest.
This is why Batman is amazing. Batman's like,
Oh
fuck,
my
you don't
God.
even start.
Chris is
Hey,
gonna
I
go
say
Camel
see
Moon.
nothing, and I beat the
Camel
pulp out
Moon.
of you.
Chris wants to find out where you live so he can kill you in your sleep. Yeah, but yeah,
I'm
I
gonna stuff
agree.
alligators
Enjoy
through your
that
window.
Are
storm
you gonna
surge,
whine about it on your
Camel
way over here?
I'm gonna stuff alligators in your window.
Oh my god. I was rich.
Oh, where's
Okay.
Camel Moon? Oh, this is what Spider-Man would do.
burp.
But the
This is
thing
what
is,
Spider-Man would do.
I do want to throw
alligators
this.
in your window.
Hey, Camel, I do want to throw this at in your direction though. The Spider-Man character is freaking awesome, right? It's the Peter Parker part that
Wow.
lets the concept down, right? Or not?
No.
Because every time he puts that mask on, he's still Peter Parker to me. He's still complaining.
Oh,
No,
whining.
Wow.
the thing is, Peter Parker is kind of like borderline dysfunctional. But when he becomes
Retarded.
Spider-Man, he's a hero. Like he takes care of business. And so I always liked Spider-Man, especially in Marvel team-ups, because he was a functional dude. But then as soon as you throw Aunt May in the mix and Mary Jane, then he becomes a buffoon.
Yeah, I
Batman's
can
a
see
bitch.
that. The other thing is when he's like that, he doesn't need to be like that. Aunt May knows who he is. He's not.
Thank
Clark
you.
Kent.
Yes.
Clark Kent is like, who wears Superman? But like obviously, if Jordan Perry, what's his name, right? Not Jordan Perry, Perry White. Thank you.
Very white.
Perry White knows or doesn't know that Clark is Superman. Lois Lane, for the most part, and most canon, doesn't know. Jimmy Olsen doesn't know. But yeah, Aunt May knows. So Mary Jane knows. These people know. There's no reason to act like such a little tool because your mask is off.
I just love how your Art's like, I like when Spider-Man, and Camel's just like, nah, F that guy.
He's not even going there. Yeah.
I don't
I'll
like
give you a
anything
pass.
about Spider-Man
It's
or
fine.
Peter Parker, even though he's been the most successful character for the last 50 years.
All right.
No, you know what
Yeah.
it is?
Yeah,
A lot of
F
people
that
out
guy.
there just don't care.
Why does that
Comic
look like someone just
Like
stabbed
the
him in the
number one
skull?
selling Marvel comic since he came out for fucking for like 20 fucking years.
Screw him.
Wow.
Well, the
This
thing is,
new generation, Chris, they got no respect.
Fucking
No
kids.
respect, I say.
This new
Hey,
generation.
I liked, I used to watch the animated series. I thought that was, fun.
What, the 90s
But it was
one?
sandwiched between X-Men
Fucking-
and Batman. So
Oh
it was
my
like,
god, that's not the fucking cartoon. What are you fucking?
And plus,
Three?
the
talking
people
about
that say the
Spider-Man and his amazing
animated
friends.
series, maybe read
Spider-Man.
30
that's
years worth of the
ancient.
comic
What are you,
book.
like 90?
Yeah.
You don't
Spider-Man cartoon
realize
is
how
the
fast you
fucking-
get old
It's
from
like-
40 to 50 to
That's like
60.
single cell animation. There's like 4 frames of we'll just
Yeah.
repeat
Dude.
of them swinging
Dude.
left to right over and over.
I
It was
saw
awesome.
that on rerun sitting on a coconut, Camel. Don't mess with Spider-Man and Friends.
Mhm.
That's all I had in my
Iceman
childhood.
and
Spider-Man and
Firestar,
I have,
man.
I have a
Wow.
hot friend and I have a cold friend. That's
Cold
so
friend, yeah.
creative.
Yeah, he's got it covered,
And my
man.
powers have nothing to do with either of those for whatever.
Oh,
reason.
You don't get to say you're old until you watch Spider-Man on Electric Company.
Oh my
yeah.
god.
I've
Ooh.
seen that. I don't say I'm old yet. I'm not even 40. So there you go.
You're a kid.
There was even a comic book. so
You're
Chris-
bringing in our youth demographic right now, Cal.
Bringing it up.
Do you remember
there's
the
a bunch of
Spider-Man,
people
the
sitting
Spider-Man
playing
and
with their
Electric
toys.
Company?
What's that?
Oh, I said, Chris, do you remember Spider-Man and the Electric Company, the comic book?
Yeah, yes. Saw it live
yeah.
and it was on fucking TV. We all did.
Yeah,
I
they
have-
had the
I have-
comic book too, and
Yeah.
Marvel
Right.
put out a bunch of different like variations of the Spider-Man in the 70s and 80s. Like they were trying to like get little kid Spider-Man, the teenage Spider-Man, and
Dude,
then the more
they did-
adult audience Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So.
And they did Spider-Man.
Yeah. Spider-Man.
Yeah, it had a huge robot.
Now he had the thing on his wrist.
Yeah, and a hot rod. Yes, like
Yeah.
very weird.
No, the Spidey. What was the little dune buggy thing?
Oh
That
my
could
God.
drive the
Spider-Mobile.
wall? The Spider-Mobile. That thing was
Spider-Mobile.
freaking awesome.
It was awesome. It was a fucking dune buggy.
Look at Camel's face.
While over here is like, I even like the spider armor.
I did. No.
You remember that had that silver suit?
No.
Oh,
that
that
stuff was
silver
awful.
armor was terrible.
Listen, the first 300 issues of fucking Spider-Man are awesome. And then
After that,
then we get into all kinds of crazy.
And the
shit.
other 1,000
Yeah.
suck.
Yeah. Pretty
1,000.
much.
Oh,
You know,
my
I do
God.
have to say that Chris is a good sport about it. So
You think I'm a good sport? Fuck
Yeah.
you all
you're
up.
putting him through the ringer, though.
I do feel like I set him up. Like somehow I knew Camel Moon was not a Spider-Man fan, and I had him on
Oh,
just so
man.
we could fuck with Chris.
Right.
I was a Spider-Man fan for about 4.5 minutes when the first movie came out. I was like, yeah, that was a cool movie. And then I was like, oh yeah, Batman. Oh yeah, I don't care. Let me move
Did you
on
like the
with
last
that.
Batman movie?
I did. Yeah, that was pretty
You're
good.
welcome.
I'm the night. Yeah,
Oh,
Chris,
no.
you're welcome.
Oh no, you're welcome. Yeah, there you go.
This is
You know
good.
what? One thing I didn't like about it,
Uh-oh.
whatever part you had to do with was no, okay.
That's the main storyline.
Yeah, no, the music actually. I thought the music was boring. Like I thought it just
It was
kept.
really
it was the
repetitive.
same. It was repetitive.
Yeah, it wasn't
Yeah.
inspired. It wasn't
I
inspired.
was just
yeah.
like, I don't know why they keep using the same riff over and over.
Mhm.
It was like, can't you have a real theme song? I thought it would have been better if it tried that. And they took about 20 minutes out of the middle. It probably would have been a little.
You didn't like
stronger.
you didn't like the fact that they based the entire theme of the movie around underneath the bridge.
Underneath the
song-
bridge.
Yeah, that song from
The
Chili
Chili
Peppers?
Peppers?
what was that?
The
Chili
Chili
Peppers?
Peppers?
No, it's from
Oh, the Nirvana thing?
the
Oh, the
Nirvana,
Nirvana's. Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
didn't care either way. I was like, that's that's their direction. You know,
Yeah.
everyone has their interpretation of or they're gonna make a movie the way they see fit. It didn't offend me. If it offended me, I'd be like, all right, this is a little much. But
Yeah.
you got to do what you're gonna do.
Take it away, it offends me.
Just the idea of Spider-Man existing offends Camel Moon.
Chris
I
is
think
like,
it
"Art,
needs.
I will cut you, man."
Yeah,
I will.
it was the Macy Gray song in Spider-Man. I was like, yeah, that's what we need.
Oh shit!
We need
I'm
more
in that
Macy
scene, by
Gray
the way.
in Batman.
I'm in that scene in the first movie. So,
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I was invited.
Oh, that's
You know,
awesome.
The Marvel guys. So, like as Spider-Man is getting like when the Green Goblin first shows up, you know, to the fair or whatever, and he knocks Spider-Man across, and he goes through those champagne glasses and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like you can see me like running from the scene. I'm about this big in the scene.
Okay.
If you know what you're looking for, you can kind of see it.
You're immortalized in
on Malin
awesome.
early on in CG on Malin's channel. We broke it down. It's like, there he is. Like he went frame by frame.
Oh,
it's like,
yeah.
Nice.
That's great.
It's like,
still
this is my
counts,
big
Art.
moment.
Yeah, it was a fun experience, and my favorite story from that is like we were there for 3 days, and me and the Hack Shack crew, and we went through wardrobe and everything, and so they would feed us because we were just extras. They would feed us. There was a tent for all the extras, and then the stars had their own tent, and so we were just kind of bored. They had like some entertainers in the tent trying to entertain the masses, but me and my friends, we just walked out of the tent and we were just kind of hanging out. And so Willem Dafoe he's just walking back to set. And so I just walked up to her. I said, can we walk back to set with you? And he says like, no problem. So we're just hanging out and we're having a great conversation, just like normal guys. It's like, you had that moment where you're like, this is like Willem Dafoe. He's just like a normal
person. Yeah.
We're just having a good old, conversation. And so then some guy did the same thing we did, came out of the tent, and I'll never forget this guy. He goes, holy shit, that's Willem Dafoe. And then he goes, hey everyone. He yells into the tent.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Goes, hey everyone, it's
dumbass.
Willem Dafoe. And so, oh my gosh, like for the first time, I really got that feeling of like what it would be like to be that kind of celebrity, because it's kind of scary because they started to mob him, and then security saw this and they came over in a golf cart. They got him in the golf cart and they took off. And I never forgave that guy because I was like, oh shit, we could have walked all the way back to set, and had just a fantastic conversation with Willem Dafoe.
I could have had a relationship with Willem Dafoe. We could have become friends, man.
We could have been
best friends.
Yeah.
Best friends. We could have gone to the jacuzzi.
It just would have been one of those cool experiences, and that guy just ruined it.
Back in the 90s, I was my friends were recording a record out in California, and where they had us put up, every day you go out and get breakfast or whatever. So I'm getting my coffee and whatever the fuck I'm getting, and then I'm looking for a place to sit, and the only empty chair that's there is at a table with Frank Gorshin, right?
Ooh, the Joker.
And so, the Riddler. Oh shit,
Riddler, yeah. Caesar Romero's Joker.
So I went there and I sat there with him, and he's reading the script and everything, and we're having breakfast and everything. And I sat through the whole breakfast. Obviously, I knew who he was and everything. Didn't say a fucking word. Left him alone. Just ate, and and that was it, right? So for the next 4 days, like every day when we went for breakfast, he came and sat with me because he knew I wasn't going to fucking bother. And that was it. So I had breakfast with Frank Gorshin like 4.5 days in a row or something.
That's really cool. That is really cool. Yeah. So as far as just the Spider-Man thing, Camel Moon, is there anything else you want to?
Wow.
Is there anything else you would like to shit on, Camel Moon?
We're
just gonna go.
I want to ruin. I'll tell you this. This will be the end of me.
I knew you had something else, Shane.
Shit.
Not a huge fan of the McFarlane run. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, now we can't be friends now.
Yeah. I think his stuff like on other series was really good, but for that one I'm just like it's his people look like they're in Mad Magazine. I mean, the eyes are huge, and I'm like, the buildings are all like off.
Yeah, the drawing, but I thought what was cool is that he kind of wasn't a loser. He married Mary Jane. Mary Jane was a model. He was there was some success. There was less
Oh,
wine.
the story, yeah, no problem with that. I always thought just the art was a little like I liked Spider-Man, but like whenever they took their masks off for a lot of his perspective shots, I was just like, oh, that's just it's too.
Yeah,
much.
Todd
kind of worked because Todd was different than anything that had been around for a while. Like Spider-Man had a real distinctive look, like it was the Marvel look, the John Romita Jr., John Romita Sr. It had been decades of that. Todd came in and like he had gotten a little bit of excitement before that, and then when he hit Spider-Man, he gave it this totally different, and it was that whole thing of the 90s where guys came in out of nowhere and they kind of just gave it a different vibe, a different breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
And it really spun out of that. Looking back on it now, was it all the best art? No, it wasn't the best art, but it was like there was a different energy to it. And
Todd made his living on selling his enthusiasm.
Yeah,
sure.
Like as a 13-year-old,
that's not a knock. You know.
Yeah. What?
But I'll tell you, I got.
I'm getting that stuff as.
Let me throw my Todd story in before I forget.
Okay, go ahead.
Because back before Todd did Spider-Man, and this is a story that was told to me by Art Nichols, and Art was they were walking to the office and Todd was there and a couple other pro guys and everything, and this is before he got on Spider-Man, and Todd said to the guys in that group, he said, I'm gonna take like Art Adams, and I'm gonna take all the best styles and I'm gonna combine them all, and I'm gonna be the first comic book artist that makes $1 million. And everybody laughed and laughed and laughed.
Yeah.
Who's laughing now?
And all of those guys are out of the industry, and
all those guys are bitter on Twitter attacking comic skaters.
Yeah.
It's like, how dare you besmirch the holy name of McFarlane?
But he's the first guy that had that vision. You know, it's like, I'm gonna fucking make money.
He's like, he was like a one of those I want to say televangelists, but those television salesmen.
Make it though, yeah.
Oh, the infomercial guys.
Infomercial guys, yeah. It's the most amazing rag you've ever seen.
Todd and Rob and Jim were seeing more than what a lot of the other creators were seeing. They were seeing the lines of fans. They were seeing the excitement, and they were realizing they could capitalize on it even more than what they were doing. I mean, those three guys were huge at Marvel, and they realized we're maybe bigger than Marvel. And Art can talk about this more than anything.
Rob's the first guy to jump ship to go do his image book.
Well, the thing is too, like it was twofold. It was guys, because I remember having conversations with Jim Lee early on, and like when we were breaking in, we were afraid that we weren't going to be able to make a living, long term. So, we were coming up with ways of how to sustain and how to make good money even then. So the two things that came out of it is create a studio, run a studio. I did Hack Shack Studios. He created Homage Studios, which became Wildstorm. And then the other one was create IPs, which is what I'm doing now. So those are the two ways that you can break outside of the norm, is to own something, own a character, or to run a studio that can maybe sustain without you. What Jim and I both found out is that running the studio without you being day-to-day and actually, just really hustling, it can't sustain itself. So then the studio idea doesn't really work unless you're really committed to the studio 110%. You know what I mean? And then the next thing was that there was a speculator thing that was happening. There were like investors that were coming into the industry. So it was just kind of like one of those lightning in the bottle. It was serendipitous, where you had these two things kind of happening at the same time. And it was the right place, right time, had the right attitude. It was definitely the attitude of like that the industry isn't going to take care of us. The industry is archaic. The industry, we're not going to really respect it to that extent. We're going to get what we can out of the industry.
That's how they treat you.
And that's the thing, is you guys had seen it happen to prior generations of creators like we've all heard the stories or seen creators who were like at one point they were the top guy, and then a decade later they were looking for work and like
when I got my very first job penciling, I can't remember what miniseries. I think I was doing a creeper miniseries. There was Andy Helfer, who was the editor. Day one is he's giving me my first real assignment, and he was like, "I'm going to give you some advice. I want you to listen. Save for your retirement. I see too many guys coming in here, fucking old guys that are broke, looking for handouts that they can't feed themselves, and there's no retirement plan for artists.
Right.
You got to look out for yourself.
You're not an employee.
There's
You don't
no
have a
Marvel
401k.
pension plan?
It's yeah. The system has always been shit for the creator.
Yeah, there's
and that's actually, Chris, that's what started the conversation with Jim and I. Is we were at San Diego Comic-Con and we saw I don't want to name his name, but like an older guy did some fantastic work in the day. I mean, fantastic work, and he was sitting outside of the party. And, we just started a conversation with him, and he just let it all out, man. He's like, I can't get work, man. I can't get work. I'm at the show. People aren't even meeting with me. They're not talking to me, just stuff like that. And that's when we were just like, this is not going to be us. This is not our future. You know what I mean? We're not going to be this guy. And I'll be darned if that's, 40 years later, that's never been my story. I've never gone a day without work, and I've always been, paid top dollar to do what I do. And that's not a coincidence. That's just not being one of those guys. Like we raised my daughter, and I used to tell my daughter all the time, it's like, people will treat you however you allow them to treat you.
Yep.
That's reality. You let them treat you like a doormat. They're gonna step all over you. So I was always kind of like, I was always humble. I tried to be, like a team player and all those other things, but deep down I was always like, you got to look out for number one, man. Because
in comic books especially, and the thing is, fucking Marvel and DC, they have all the characters that everybody loves so much and everybody wants to work on, and and we're all a victim of that to some extent. And maybe that's the wrong word. That's too strong a word, victim. But everybody loves those characters and they want to do something with those characters. And like everybody goes into comics with the best intentions, right? I'm going to do a great story. I'm going to do this.
I don't know about that today.
And a lot of people, myself included, just get worn down by the business aspect of it. Like, when we start hitting the 90s and I'm drawing a book every week, and I don't have the skills to do that. I'll be the first person to tell you, and it's just like, oh, but we can't print blank pages in there. Yeah, and you literally just hacking shit out in those days because they're just giving you more work, and you're making more money to do shittier work. It's like this is not. You feel like you sold your girlfriend, that you're whoring her out or something. It's like it's something you love, and now you're treating like shit for money, and it's not what you wanted to do. And and then for me, that's what broke it for me. Is just like I felt like like the thing that I loved was being horribly mistreated.
Well, the thing is, after a while, like I had like a couple, like I had nervous breakdowns that I didn't even know I was having nervous breakdowns. You know what I mean? Like I was just I had just hit that wall, and then I was like, why don't I want to work? Why don't I want to get up in the morning? Why is the enthusiasm gone? And then I just realized, well, there's actually, it's called, just hitting the wall. Like you can burn out. You can burn out. And then I was like, holy shit. And then I was also talking to a friend. He said, you got to take care of yourself, man. He said, because they'll keep asking. They'll keep on. They don't care about your health. They don't care about anything. They'll keep asking for the impossible. And as long as you keep saying yes, then that's what you have to deliver. And it's relentless. It's relentless work, because if you don't work, you don't eat. That's it. Yeah. There's really no days off. There's no time off.
And then when you burn out, they hire the next guy.
Right, exactly. And it's a tough way to make a living. But you know what? it was a great way to make a living. I look back and there's a lot of fond memories I had. I did work my ass off. My wife the other day, I mean, she sees the industry now, and she said, because usually when you're with somebody for a long time, you never give them accolades. You never say anything like, you really, you're a good cook, or you really are a good provider or whatever. And then she said, you know what, like, you really kicked ass. Like, you had a studio, you did multiple projects, you always did all this stuff, because she sees like what the industry is now, like, because there's more of a spotlight on it. Like, there's people talking about page rates that they never did before. They're talking about the industry in a way that it might not be around in another 10 years. Just all this stuff that wasn't really in existence when I was, in the day. So, you see that in such a really competitive and hard industry that you still excelled. You know what I mean? And that's saying something 40 years later.
There are 30-year veterans who are, working at Marvel still and producing at Marvel, and they're getting less. Like inkers that I know are getting less than $100 a page to ink it.
The page rates.
Seriously,
the page rates at Marvel are trash right now.
No wonder they're going to all these guys in Brazil.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they got to put out the book somehow. And if there's agenda and there's a lack of, like, there's no real house style anymore. There's no real pride in like how to draw the Marvel way or
we're
that.
seeing the end of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
so then they just
sustainable.
Yeah, they don't care. And most of these guys, these editors that are coming in, they're just like, they're like what we used to call like interns. They're not really editors. They're just kind of interns. But
they have none of the history and love of comics like we do. Like they're just looking at it as like, this is a stepping stone job.
Yep. Oh, go to TV or
Marvel
whatever.
Comics, everybody knows the Marvel movies.
I mean, like
editorial jobs are stepping stones for screenwriting. Like, that's how they think.
Yeah, especially at Warner Brothers now, because like Warner Brothers had moved DC to Burbank, and so a lot of those guys coming in, I guarantee you, they had film aspirations. They weren't going to be there. We're not going to be in the trenches very long. We got our screenplay. We're gonna be making movies. Yeah,
this is just an opportunity for me to talk to the right people, and then I'm moving on to the next thing.
Yeah. Like the stepping stone. Yeah, and the thing is, though, I don't know if you guys what people you guys follow on YouTube, but Thinking Critical did a couple of episodes where he actually showed that we lost somebody.
Who'd we lose? Oh, Camo.
But
he had enough.
There were DC had like 100 books that weren't even that weren't even in the top 100.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude.
And including Batman books and stuff. It was like, what the hell?
I think some of the Batman books, but I think Batman was the only one that broke into the top 100. Yeah,
the top. Well, it's still in the top 10.
Yeah, everything else.
But it was a Batman number one. Like, it's Batman number one. Any kind of Batman number one book usually kills. This thing was like, and like a couple of them were out of the top 200.
Yeah.
It's like the worst publishing. The last 3 or 4 months have been like the worst publishing months they've had in years.
Well, I mean, then it begs the question. I mean, couldn't any one of us fucking put out a Batman book that would do just as good or better? I mean, it's crazy to think that, like, these are supposedly like the biggest characters in the world in the hands of professionals, and they can't fucking crack the top 100. I mean, that's.
Yeah, but like, if you told me that a Batman, that any Batman number one book was going to debut outside the top 100, I'd have told you, you're out of your friggin' mind.
Yeah, but
Batman's a golden goose.
Oh, definitely. But let's change. Let's get into some of this stuff. Like, this is where the industry's heading. Can you guys see this, Tropical Magics?
What?
Woo!
Yeah.
What?
So this is where the industry is heading. Pedro had seen the light. He's going in the direction that is going to succeed in the long run. And this is Cheech and Chong meets Mad Max in a world of magic and technology.
Okay. I have an announcement to make regarding Tropical Magics.
Okay.
Real quick, Art, you're not showing anything.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
you're not.
Hold on.
But it's all right. It's all right. Don't show it because I closed the campaign I'm gonna make a second chance campaign in a couple of months, and it's coming with a new surprises with a new project. So this is a little strategic thing. So everybody who backed it is gonna get the books. The books are already printed and they're with RJ right now. We're waiting for the trading cards, and probably in 2 weeks we'll start fulfilling. So
But
you get your
still,
books.
the campaign is still active, right?
Is it? Oh,
It says it's
It,
still.
it takes a couple of days for even.
Take a
Yeah.
couple of days. Take a
Even
couple
once
of
you
days.
shut it down, it'll take
Mhm.
yeah. Indiegogo's not the quickest on that.
Okay, well
Mhm.
let's go in this direction then.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because I know Clint is going to want to talk about this.
Well, you can.
Let's do it. There you go.
Slave Girl is still live, in demand. You can get the book now. All of this ties in with what we're doing with Pirate Queen 2. So if you get picked up Pirate Queen already from me and Mandy, you're definitely going to want to pick up Slave Girl. The adventure continues through this book, and then it leads right into Slave Girl versus Pirate Queen that me and Mandy are going to be doing this fall. We're going to be announcing that and launching it soon. But yeah, Slave Girl is kind of your old school classic sci-fi, the 1950s kind of like drop on an alien planet and space adventures. But our poor slave girl here, she kind of falls through the cracks and kind of ends up in some desperate situations here. So this is an adult comic. Fair warning for everybody. There is adult content and nudity. Just the way everyone likes it. But just kind of fun, lighthearted action adventure. A little something for if you're looking for something a little bit more risque. We do have the nude variant cover here. Boobs indeed. Boobs galore.
Boobs.
Yep. So lots of fun stuff. Lots of nods to old sci-fi stuff. I always like making fun of Star Trek, Star Wars, all the old sci-fi things. So I throw in a lot of Easter eggs and a lot of fun things, a lot of hot chicks, but a lot of action and adventure too. 48 pages full color. The whole book is story. And then again, like I said, this does lead into our next book, Slave Girl versus Pirate Queen. All of these stories tie into each other. So just kind of fun action adventure comic with a lot of hot chicks.
And the thing is, come on, you guys, he's $10 away
$10
from $27,000. You know, that would be $200.
Somebody's got to have $10.
Come on, man, you guys got to pick up a Slave Girl from Planet X, man. Let's flip those numbers and let's do it tonight. The book looks fantastic.
Thank you.
I always think like it's just good fun, you know, and don't take it too serious, people. Don't get overly critical. Let's just have fun. It's comic books for goodness sake.
Freaking boobs, man.
For goodness sake.
It's
okay.
boobs.
And I'm going to share something that's near and dear, and then we're going to have some fun at Marvel's expense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. Here we are. Okay. So this is Black and White Volume 2. This will be the epic conclusion to the origin saga. In a world where law and order is often blurred to gray, justice can only be ... black and white. So we are 100,015,944. So we are also like one backer away from flipping this number to 116. So if we could get a backer for this tonight, that would be great. You know, get one for Pirate Queen and or a Slave Girl, I mean, and then one for Black and White here. That would be excellent. So they are back, badder than ever. This is the main cover for the book here. That's Black and White, and there's Brooks Gray with the big old pulse rifle, and then there's Uncle Yi with his baseball bat. Uncle Yi is going to kick some major robot ass in this book. You're going to get to see Uncle Yi step up. This is a 64-page graphic novel. We have some cool variants. Kenneth Rocafort, Black and White battling some robots. We got Joe Bennett, Black and White battling some robots. We got the amazing Pedro Eng, Black and White, you know, smashing some robots. And we have the second printing of Volume 1 with Black and White smashing some robots. So this is going to be a lot of robot smashing in these books. So we also have we have Greg Capullo variants. You can only get this in the black and white jam tier, and we still have a couple of them available. And once they go, they are gone. So yeah, you guys, please come by, check out Black and White, and let's see if we can get this at 116 by night's end. That would be great. And also, you guys, these books, Pedro's Tropical Magics in the description. We have Slave Girl from Planet X in the description. And we also have Black and White in the description. And Chris is going to be dropping his new
Monday
very, very soon. Why don't you tell us about that?
Woo!
I'm very excited. We're going to drop Monday. Penelope Powerhouse. I've got, I think, 11 to 12 pages in the can. We're going to launch with like 7 probably, something like that. And it's looking good. I'm happy with it, and it's a super fun book. Everything's fun. It's just straight fun. It's like, Adult Swim type mature humor, but there's no nudity.
None of these. None of wait.
No, there's no actual nudity. No boobs. Actually, there's plenty of boobs, but not naked boobs. And I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great project.
Look at Clint. Clint has that look on his face like you wimp. You're wimping out.
Well, my character's a teenager. I gotta.
Oh shit!
Oh crap! Okay, yeah, never mind. I was gonna say, come on, man, free the sweater meat, but then I was like, no.
It's it's not
a high school teen.
Sometimes you got to keep it classy too. Like I'm the
It's
last one to
classy,
keep it classy.
Depends on what your definition is.
Yeah, dude.
No, I'm just upset.
you have that
We're all
trailer?
gonna pour one out for Coolio tonight.
No, I'm actually doing hoping to get a re-edit done for Monday. So I took it down. So I'm trying to shorten it because it was a little over 2 minutes. I think it was around 2:14. Let's see if we can get it down to a minute and a half, something like that.
It looks awesome though. Everything you've shown us, it looks freaking awesome.
Yeah, because I'm doing it all myself. So I'm, to keep costs down with the campaign and everything. So I've only hired a colorist, and that's it. I'm doing everything else myself.
Do you have a pre-launch page? Do you have anything?
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. Yeah, but that's what we're gonna drop everything like Monday. So
Sweet.
Okay, so the book's not going to launch Monday.
No, we're gonna do pre-launch. Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, so then you'll have some time to promote, get some signatures, get some people involved.
Yeah.
And then when are you thinking of going live with the campaign?
Probably a week after. Yeah.
Okay, so you guys, as soon as you hear about Chris's book going up for pre-launch, sign up because you're only going to have a week to do that, and then going live.
It depends, it depends on how it's going, but I don't want to spend like too much time in pre-launch, because I've been waiting to get this going for a while. So.
Did you see this, Clint?
Yeah, I'm not sure I follow.
I
like teenage characters.
I saw it and I chuckled. Just have to.
You know what he means.
You know what he means. It's like, well, how old is she? Oh no.
They're all
no
18.
boobs.
They're all 18.
Yeah.
Oh, darn.
No darn.
Well, not according.
I need
not
some
according-
photo ID now.
Everybody's got to wear sweaters.
Well, let's get in on this action here. I know there's
Oh God.
Oh no.
a little outspoken about Namor in Black Panther. I like that
Namor because he's not from friggin' Atlantis.
I know. What the hell is this, man? And then they're just saying
There are no Atlanteans. So where did you want them to go?
They're from Chihuahua.
You know what I mean? I don't mind this. I don't. What I hope they don't do is say, okay, we want all the times we see Namor look like this guy, because that's to me that gets bizarre,
Yeah.
But I don't mind you chose this guy and whatever. That's not a big deal.
The guy, to me, the guy isn't that impressive. Like he looks kind of frumpy.
The thing that sucks is I can't remember the guy's name. He's a Japanese actor. He looks just freaking like Namor. He's jacked like Namor is. He's got that. He's got the same hair, the eyes, those sharp features. he looks exactly like Namor. And I'm like,
Remember the
you
name
could have
of it?
got that guy.
That character needs intensity like fucking nobody's business.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. I'm of a mind that if you are showing me a character that I've been looking at for 40 fucking years, and I don't know that I'm looking at him, then you have failed at your fucking job. You suck at making this character come to life.
Yeah.
And that's all there is to it. It's like, if you can't recognize the character, why are you bothering to? What are you paying the license for?
That?
Yeah, I mean, just
rock
put out
on
something else.
I'm not denying the fact that he's a good actor.
Yeah, he did a great job in Narcos.
Yeah, he's a great actor. He's not Namor. Yeah. This is not this what they're doing in there. This is not Namor. This is somebody else.
It's Namor.
I am going to say this though. This is it Angela Bassett?
Angela Bassett.
Yeah.
She should have been Storm.
She should have been Storm. 100%.
By the time they got to doing an X-Men movie, though, I think she was a little too old.
No,
even
not the
now,
first.
Even
the
now,
first
I would take her
movie.
as Storm. She looks like Storm.
Hang on a minute. Let me see.
No, in the first X-Men, I think she was still age.
Oh yeah, she's not that much older than Halle Berry.
She looked good.
She's 64, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, do you remember Angela Bassett in Stranger Days? Days?
Yeah, and yeah.
Yeah, dude, that was hot.
Yeah, but
that was a long time ago, though.
Halle Berry is 8 years younger than she is.
Okay,
and so the first X-Men.
Let's do the math. When was the first X-Men? When did that come out?
It was almost down 20 years ago.
98, 99, I think.
Oh, it was plus 20 years ago.
Hang on a minute.
She'd have been 30 something.
Hang on a minute.
Hang on.
And as beautiful as Halle Berry is not the greatest actress in the world.
No.
Whereas
2000,
Angela Bassett is. Angela Bassett would have brought the presence
years,
that Storm
23 years.
She would have been 43.
So 23 years ago.
Well, I guess considering that Famke Janssen was like almost.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, look at how old Famke Janssen looked as Jean Grey.
Yeah, I think she could have pulled it off. One, she has the stature. You know, like she has
the presence.
She was Tina Turner. She has the legs, man. She has the stature.
The legs.
Also, she is a badass actress, right?
Yeah.
She could have pulled that off. She would have had the presence. I think Halle Berry is cute, but I don't think she's sexy. I don't think she has that kind of like that presence that you would need.
She doesn't have like the stage command on screen. Like she doesn't Hugh Jackman kind of stole the movie, and there was nobody else in there that really kind of held their own against him. Whereas Angela Bassett totally would have.
Strange Days. I loved her in Strange Days.
Yeah,
Toad was cool in X-Men.
Oh my God.
Halle Berry is just a real pretty girl, but she doesn't have her personality, and her acting chops are just not strong enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Angela Bassett is everything you want.
Yeah. Angela Bassett might have stole the show away from Hugh Jackman.
Oh my gosh, I think you're right. I think she could have. Yeah, definitely. I don't know.
Did you guys ever see the movie Supernova?
No.
Angela Bassett in the movie Supernova? Yeah, she was awesome in that.
So we got off the
we got
onto the Angela Bassett train here. But so it's so weird that they're making a big deal about Namor and it's a Black Panther movie. I always think like what they're doing with Marvel is weird now, where they're not really establishing the main character that it's their movie in an effective way. It just feels like they're almost like Marvel team up stories or Marvel 2-in-1, where it's this
not even
character. But I mean that would work if they fully established that's the character that the movie's made.
They're starting to use gimmicks instead of having a really good story, and like you can start to see it. Like Doctor Strange, the story is okay. It wasn't the strongest, but hey, now we're gonna show you the multiverse, and we're gonna have these other characters in there, and that's gonna wow everybody.
And it's not a
Mr. Fantastic. They're using gimmicks.
Yeah, it's not a Doctor Strange movie anymore. And the one thing I don't like about Namor being a mutant is it means that Atlantis, are they mutants as well?
There is no Atlantis.
No, there is no Atlantis.
There is no Atlantis. he's coming basically from an Aztec background, and there's going to be, I think, an Aztec underground city.
I can't remember the name of it.
Well, who are these guys then? Who
is the city of Tlatelolco?
But that's not who the character is. It's
what was it called?
100% changed the character.
Yeah, what was it, Pedro?
Tlatelolco or something like that.
Yeah, it's it's from Aztec.
It's from
legend.
Nahuatl. It's the language.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you're starting from scratch.
It's a suburb. It's a suburb of Teotihuacan.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Well, then my question is, then who
left.
are these guys? Then are they mutants as well? I mean,
No,
we're mixing it all up. Art, nobody knows. It's all.
Namor is going to be different from them, so
Yeah.
he's going to be. I think he's still going to be quote unquote the first mutant, technically, even though they've introduced 2 of them now so far.
Why bother making a Marvel movie then if you're just doing all new characters and all new approach?
That's exactly the point.
Yeah.
Teoloca, that's right. Santiago, he's that's what they're replacing Atlantis with Teoloca.
Well, the only reason I can see them going in this direction is because they've already done it. Like the Aquaman movie exists; it was really popular.
That's part of it.
And they got into like the whole royalty thing, the king, and all that stuff. And also, if they did that with Namor, it is going to seem like the Black Panther beat because let's face it, it's a similar type of story, So royalty, all that kind of accepting the crown, ruling people, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but just do it better. I mean, we know there's parallels between Marvel and DC, and so now you just back away from everything you've ever done, and just because fucking have some balls, just do a better version, and that's all anybody wants.
Right?
Yeah, there's enough differences. There's enough differences between Namor and Aquaman.
Yeah.
Well, you could really lean into the differences. So
the concept of Namor came after I read Jules Verne's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and I always thought that Captain Nemo, really had like, then when I read Namor, I was like, oh my gosh, he's like Captain, Nemo. He's kind of anti-war, warships. He doesn't like the humans and stuff like that. That is way different than Aquaman. Aquaman is more like wants to be kind of more peaceful approach to things. But Namor was more like a really contemptuous guy. He did not like the surface dwellers, and I liked. That's why I always saw the parallel between Namor and Captain Nemo, because he would go after those people, the warships, things like that, and he would destroy them. And in the wartime, it just happened that he was he was after he would destroy the Nazi ships, and stuff like that. But
the more I hear about this, and then now I guess Feige is walking back the whole idea of recasting Namor. I mean, recasting T'Challa. They're walking that back now. So
he's just saying that it would have been too soon to do it now. Basically, they won't necessarily not do it in the future, but that doing it in this next movie was just too soon.
I don't understand that. They did that with what's his name that died, the Joker guy. What was the
Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger. And my thing was, you already wrote it and you structured it in such a fashion. Yeah, it's going to be hard to replace this guy, but you're saying that there's no fucking talent that could use that as a template and step into the role. There's nobody in Hollywood. And also, I don't know where Hollywood gets in their head like that this is in bad taste. Like somehow this shits on the memory of these guys. It doesn't. The legacy continues. If anything, it keeps that alive.
Well, the thing is, when it comes to Chadwick Boseman, like he was like we didn't have a whole lot of work from him, but what work we did get from him, he was a consummate actor. He was an actor's actor. So I think he would be like, I think he would like to have seen what somebody else could have done with that role.
Right. I think
but the problem is that they made him a martyr.
Yeah.
And, like, and then so at that point, like he became, this thing that you could not replace. And, it's just ridiculous. It's like, it's a movie part, it's a franchise, and you shouldn't be making movies. Do we really want to see a movie, about the guys that are working maintenance in the Fantastic Four's, building? I mean, we want to see the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is. It's like we're not here to see Wakanda. We want to see Black Panther, And so,
like they should have taken their time, done their due diligence, found the right actor, not an actor to play him, an actor who could play T'Challa his own way, and then just gone with that. That's what they should have.
They've feel the same way actors. They replaced Ed Norton in the Hulk. Like they've done this stuff.
Like I still think that they should have recast. They should have recast the big three. I mean, yeah, it's going to be tough to find somebody to replace Robert Downey Jr. or. Hey, Pedro, you're muted, bro.
They're gonna at some point in probably the next decade, the Marvel universe is gonna get rebooted. They've set up the multiverse now.
Yeah,
they're gonna have a younger Iron Man, a younger Captain America, a younger Thor.
They have to.
That's the whole point of having a multiverse. Is Disney's gonna milk this for as long as they're not gonna stop making money.
I don't know how much longer they're gonna do it, man, because the guild is already off the lily.
Well, they're putting a lot of money into the amusement parks and franchise.
How many Batmans have there been, Bob?
Yeah, and not all of them are successful, man.
But a lot of them have been.
I understand. Like I said, Batman's the golden goose.
Yeah, dude. The only Batman movie,
it's definitely better than Spider-Man.
I can't watch anymore is Batman Forever and Batman and Robin.
Well, it's because Joel Schumacher is a freak.
You take that back.
You watch those more than once?
George Clooney will always be my Batman.
Oh man!
No. Wow. Bat nipples.
Clint, you just want to see nipples.
I'm gonna mark this down in my ledger, and the first time we meet face to face, I'm gonna punch you in the face.
You go for it. I can't stand George Clooney.
But
all right,
and it's like I said, like
hold on,
Bob. Yeah.
This guy right here will always be my Batman. So
dude.
Yeah, we go.
Yes.
The person who gave that to Art.
This is screen used Bat Cow from Batman Returns.
Holy shit!
Keaton was he was my guy, man.
That's
I also think that Keaton was the best. He was definitely
Bruce Wayne.
the best Bruce Wayne. Yes.
But man,
you haven't been taking care of my cow, man.
What a crazy choice he was at the time. Like before you saw it, and you just heard Mr. Mom is going to play Batman.
Yeah, that was
dude.
That was probably one of the most, and this is pre-internet or was it pre-internet or? It was
definitely pre-internet.
Yeah, pre-internet. But one of the most. Can you imagine that choice being announced now?
Oh, they would crucify him.
Like it would.
Our only point of reference was Adam West.
Yep.
Before Keaton, so it was like, okay, who's gonna be Batman? I was like, okay.
But Keaton was such an out of left field choice.
Yeah, but the real problem was before Keaton is that Bill Murray was attached to the project. They were going to do a Goofy.
God.
When they did announce Keaton, everybody thought that they were going to do a silly Batman.
Yeah.
No, Keaton pulled it off somehow, and it was. I mean, it worked.
I think it was cool, like playing against what your expectations were, because I mean now we look back and you can watch the first Batman movie and just go, well, it's kind of campy or corny in places and things like that. But when that movie came out, because it was like the Adam West movie that people were, that was in their memory, that was what they knew. And then this movie came out and it was completely different. And one of the things I thought was genius, and I like movies like this art directionally. Like Anton what was his name? First, his art direction of Gotham City. And I thought that this was a genius move.
Retro, it was retro.
It's not retro. It was completely made up. Like the one thing I liked about it is I always thought these superheroes, they look weird. Like in real life, they look really odd. But if you can put them in a heightened world that lives up to that character, you know what I mean? Like they're compatible. Then all of a sudden, it looks like it belongs. It looks like it's supposed to be there, like a comic book, like you have a Jack Kirby. And as long as he draws that entire book consistently, then it works. And then you have somebody else that draws, in his own style, but consistently. And I thought making an actual world like Gotham City its own world, not anything you could relate to in real life. And also the cars were all from different timelines. There was no way you could pin this world down into any real timeline. So it was timeless in essence. And I thought, like, he so fit that universe. Like, I wanted to see more of that, that art direction. And then, like, Marvel, to I guess to their credit, somehow they were able to put their heroes in the real world, which is not an easy task.
Marvel
really
heroes
hard.
live in New York.
As far as the Batman goes, because it had so much going for it, it's funny the things that it didn't have going for it could have been easily, if they were shown to the right people, they could have said, yeah, that's not a good Jim Gordon, and you need sort of a Harvey Bullock. It was ancillary things that weren't good about it, but overall, it was really, really great. And like you said, the atmosphere was great.
Yeah.
Even the weird like penguin stuff, and oh man, it was just so good.
And the thing is, to us looking back on it now, it seems still really campy. But to the 1960s Batman, it was like, oh, we're taking a serious take on Batman now. Like
exactly.
at that level, at that time period, it was a way more serious take. And now we've graduated from that many times over.
Well, also, just the fact that they were dealing, I mean, now it's a cliche, but they were dealing with the origin story, which was the death of his parents.
Yeah.
I think in the TV series, I kind of do want to look back at it, but I kind of don't. I think
I have it on Blu-ray.
Somebody said, and maybe Chris, that there is just a brief mention of Bruce's parents.
Wow, I don't remember that. I'd have to look that up because I don't recall that.
Yeah, somebody told me, because I had this conversation with somebody, that said it's not a big scene; it's just kind of a throwaway with Aunt Harriet.
It's the scene where Joker kills the guy on the steps of the courthouse, and they're looking up, and she and the reporter are looking up Bruce Wayne's past, and she says the look he has on his face when they show the picture of him as a little boy in the newspaper. She said that's the look he had when he was at the.
Oh no, we're talking about the TV show.
No, the TV show. Okay,
the 60 show.
Yeah, the 60 show. Like they don't get into the origin of Batman. So my take was that just by getting into the backstory of Batman in that movie, the Tim Burton movie, was already becoming more realistic because they never really delved into that in the TV show.
The TV show is the last impression everybody had of a live action Batman. Mm-hmm. That 60s show of Adam West in the tights and everything, done campy, done silly, and and
some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
But the first Keaton movie though, that's the first time we see Batman all black costume. That's the first time we see Batman armored up. That's the first time we see the Batmobile that's actually like
scary,
a weapon in and of itself and everything. Yeah. Well, I guess they did that on the show in a silly way, but that first appearance of Keaton in the all black suit, and then you knew right away as soon as you saw it, oh, this is not going to be goofy. This is especially that first opening scene, even though now it might be a little campy. You knew that this is okay. This is going to be something different. And that was a big deal, for it to be treated semi-reasonably, seriously, not in a silly fashion, not in a, So I mean, it was.
And the thing is, like, I have strong opinions about Batman, but one of the things I liked about that first movie is that Batman is a human being, so I never saw him as being one of those guys that's like out in the open, like being a target. Like I always saw him as being in the shadows. I always saw him as being intimidating, like scary. So shadows are scary when you can't see somebody fully. And I like that there was this legend, like he's a bat. Have like there's all this like superstition that's attached to the character, and they don't really know what he looks like. They don't know, like nobody's really seen him, so they all speculate like he's this human bat, and and they're scared of it. And then when you first see him, you don't see him really directly. You just kind of see him move throughout. and then he's always kind of in the right place at the right time to take the guy down, but you never really get a full shot of him. And I think that that's the best way to take that character. I don't like the I'm just like Superman, like I'm just busting out. I'm right here and I'm a target. Like I never saw him like that. I always saw him like you have to have that fear. You have to have that intimidation.
That's the opening sequence in the new movie. Really, like it really exemplifies that, because like when the signal goes up in the sky, immediately because they're showing like 3 different crimes happening at the same time. All 3 of the criminals immediately just start looking around like, oh shit. And like the one dude is like looking down the alleyway and it's dark and he can't see anything. And he looks like he's about to piss his pants. So he's like, is he there? Is he not there? Where is he? Yeah, so
there's nothing there and he still runs.
Yeah, and he still runs. He's like, oh God, I gotta get out of here.
And that's the way you got to do it. You know, you never come clean. Like, and then, you know, when he gets shot in the first movie, and then he gets back up. I mean, that's part of the supernatural aspect. You know, that's part of like, those are like legendary. Those are the stories, right? So that guy goes, you know, and does his time in the pen. And then he tells like, I shot the guy and he got back up. Like that dude's not human. You know, those are the cool things that I like about the Batman character, the mystery and the mystique about the character. I never thought like he should really even be in the DC universe to the extent that he is. I just don't think he really fits it.
It's weird to find someone like Batman in the Justice League, and then they got to make excuses for him to be able to cope with those guys. You know, because let's face it, fucking Green Lantern is no joke. If you got a guy that can fucking think, and then it materializes and becomes whatever the fuck he wants it to be, you know, it's hard for a regular guy to fight that, you know. So we're talking about mega Wonder Woman, Superman, Green Lantern.
Demigods.
If it was, these are no joke fucking characters. And now we got a guy who's playing fucking, you know, dress up.
But he's rich.
But he's rich.
That's his superpower. He's rich. Yeah. I hate that line. I hate that.
Yeah, it's such a disservice to who the character really is.
And you can make it work in the days of the Justice League with the satellite and everything, and you know that kind of Silver Age Justice League and everything, because then, you know, it's a different world. But in modern comics where they do things more realistically, I think to the detriment of those characters. But you know, then it becomes a little harder to justify. You know, I mean, Frank Miller, you know, went the ultimate fucking round in Dark Knight when he was like, when you had Batman fight Superman and Batman figured out a way to take him down. That was fucking amazing. You know, and they should have left it alone right there.
Yeah. I always saw
they should have just fucking like moved on and went wow and just, you know.
I always thought that Batman worked better as just use him as the strategist. He's the guy he's the guy that sits at the watchtower, and he's the mind. You know what I mean?
You know, this is the way I would like to see him used. Is like somehow when they need something, it appears, right? They need a satellite. Boom, there's a satellite. They need some kind of tech, then it shows up. Or like somehow, you know, they go into a situation and what they thought was their part of it's already taken care of, or they're set up for it, or you know, something like that. So it's like he's always there. His presence is, but he's not physically there. You know what I mean? I know that doesn't make for great visuals, but the other characters are so visual. Why do you need this guy? And at some point in the line of fire, he's collateral damage. Like this guy is not somebody you would want in a firefight.
I mean, for the artist art, you need a splash page with Batman like coming down with his cape, because otherwise you're just reselling. Like that's your money page right there. So
exactly,
you have to think about the artists making money too.
Yeah,
like one of the best things that like you're right. Like he can't be in the middle of the fight because he's a liability at that point. But one of the Michael Turner when they need Batman Superman the crossover, when the way he challenges Darkseid, that's exactly the kind of thing Batman should do. Because he's not a physical threat, and Darkseid's like doesn't. He's just like, yeah, you're nothing.
You're a net.
But he's like, yeah, I reprogrammed all of your hell pods.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing.
That's where he can do something like that.
Yeah, there's something that gets done that gives them the advantage, but it's not like it's overt. It's very covert.
It's always a strategy thing. It's always I've outthought. We've already won this battle because I've already outthought the enemy.
Yeah, exactly.
And then there's, you could always flip it on its head. And I mean, if something's done well, you can get away with anything. You know what I mean? It depends on the people executing that idea. It shouldn't work. But if you really get a job, you can make it work.
Right. And then as a story idea, if you're tired of like Batman always being the ace in the hole, then to make your villain look even more badass, the Justice League are relying on that ace in the hole, and it's not there. And then you realize that guy took Batman down first. You know what I mean? Before he even challenged the rest of the Justice League.
Well, that was the whole the storyline where Ra's al Ghul uses his contingency plans to take everybody down. The first thing they did was they had to get rid of him because he's like he already knows the contingency plan, so we got to take him down.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then in a story like that, they were like, "Oh shit! Now what are we gonna do?"
Yeah,
it's got to be.
Well, let's start to wrap this bad boy up. I didn't get the signal from Bob, so I'm gonna.
I was just about to give it to you, man.
How do you do it? Do you do this? Cut it!
Yeah, wrap it
All
up.
right, man. This was a blast, man. I mean, we had Camel Moon in here. We had
I need his mailing address.
Michael Barron. You need his mailing address? Okay, just contact him through Twitter, man. You can give him the death threats that way.
Son of a bag of shit.
And so Camel Moon, thank you so much. Mike Barron, thank you. The new project looks great. Thanks to all you guys, man. I think we really got something going here. I think the six of us are starting to fire on all cylinders. And if there's anybody listening, tweet this stuff out. Try to get some eyes on this because this is a great bunch of guys. We got a lot of cool projects coming in, and want to share them with you. And if you guys have any ideas for future shows, just throw them our way. Put them in the chat or in the description there, and just fire away. And we read everything, and we'll get on that. And before you guys go, give this thing a big old thumbs up. And like I said, just shout it out. What do you got, Todd? What do you got, Todd?
I want to kind of bring it back around to where we kind of started, and that was Andy Smith and what the injustice of what's going on with trying to cancel. Even the fights, even like Mark Brooks's, anytime he can, he's going after somebody CG. Look, the best way to defend us is to buy the books.
Buy the books.
Engage us. Start watching our channels, whatever. Don't let them win because if they're not on the right side of history, in my opinion, and it has nothing to do with who's in the seat of the White House or none of that. It all has to do with we want to entertain you, and we don't want to bring you crap. We're trying to bring you things that made us excited. The 90s style, Clinton's got big boobs and all kinds of people. What Chris is doing with Penelope, we're just trying to make decent quality books that you'll enjoy.
Different books too that you can't get at Marvel and DC.
Yeah, Hell Todd, that was well said, man.
Yeah,
you were on fire tonight, Todd.
Korath looks absolutely amazing. If you ask
me, it does.
Amazing.
And
Sword and Sorcery at its finest.
And that's one of those things where Andy Smith put out First Man, which was a great book, but it didn't really connect with the CG audience and stuff. And so he stayed open and listened to what people said. And you know what? He dug down and he created Kordrath with Dennis, the writer, and hit a home run. Man, that thing is going to be a 100K campaign. And that's not easy to do, man. That's not easy to do. And Andy has worked his ass off to get to this point. First Man was very successful, but you keep going, and then you do a 100K campaign.
You succeed more.
That's really, really crazy. So thanks again. That was well said, Todd. So you need to talk more in these shows. Good night, everyone. We'll see.
Hang on, Art. One thing, real quick.
Oh wait! I already hit end.